Hey, it's Greg Burdine, pastor of Faith Baptist Church, and I have a couple of verses I'm going to share with you today from Hebrews chapter 1. This is kind of piggybacking off of my sermon from Sunday, and so I had a sermon from Sunday from Hebrews chapter 1, and there's so much material in it. I thought for these devotions I'd just dig just a little bit deeper and see what we find. What the writer of Hebrews is sharing with us in the first chapter is that Jesus is so great. Why would you ever want to leave Jesus when he is so good? Have you ever had something that you just say, man, I wish we could stay here for a long time. This is so good. When I go into a restaurant, there's a couple of restaurants I go into, and I always order the same thing. Why? Because it's my favorite. I don't want to take a chance on something else not being good. I know that's good. I know that steak is good. I know that enchilada is going to be good. Whatever it is I have in that restaurant, that's my favorite. I am always going to get that. And when Jesus is the best, why would you ever go anywhere else? And that's what the writer is saying. Talking about angels. Angels are wonderful, but Jesus is better. And he goes and he says it here in verse 8 and 9. He kind of gives a little example of why Jesus is so much better. It says in verse 8, unto the Son, this is what God says to the Son, unto the Son he saith, thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. A scepter of righteousness is the scepter of the kingdom. Thou hast loved righteousness, hated iniquity. Therefore God, even thy God, hath anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows. He's talking about the throne that Jesus sits on. But it's an interesting phrase. He says that God, the Father, says to the Son, thy throne, O God, is forever. Jesus is God. He's not just an angel. He's not an angel at all. He is in a different category. He's God. And the throne he sits on, since he's on it, it's God's throne. And it lasts forever. God reigns forever. Jesus rules forever. Nobody ever takes it away from him. Several years ago, I got to take a missions trip, and I ended up taking a stay over for a few days in Cambodia, where my brother was a missionary at. And we went to this temple site. It's miles. It's just gigantic, called Angkor Wat. And you go in and you see these places, and you can see these, they look like thrones, and nobody's sitting on them. But evidently somebody sat on them sometime back in the centuries ago, but nobody's there now. The kingdom is gone. The throne is still there, but nobody's sitting on it. There's not people around. It's just a tourist attraction. But God says about Jesus, his throne is forever. It's not just symbolic. It represents power. It's active. It's where Jesus controls the world from. Earthly thrones can become museum pieces. Christ's reign never expires. Jesus is not a former king. He is a reigning king, and he will be King of kings and Lord of lords. He is a king now. He is a Lord now. But one day every knee will bow, every kingdom, every throne, every power will bring it all to him, and he'll be the King of kings and Lord of lords. When everything around you seems to shift and change, and there's no stability in some things, just remember this: God's still on the throne. You may not know what's going to happen tomorrow, but God's still on the throne. You may have worries and anxieties. God is still on the throne. Jesus rules and reigns, and he will take care of you. God bless you.